When I launched that attack, I was like, wow, I like the way I access the computer, I changed things. And believe it or not, when you made your first hack, you feel like, okay, how we can correct that? Or make another sophisticated attack. And you think about the next, you think about the next, another one. So it's like an addiction. I'm from a small country called Tunisia. It's a northern African country. Daily, I post on my LinkedIn profile talking about the updates in cybersecurity, free resources, some tips, making some episodes with international experts. Also, I'm creating some technical videos on my YouTube channel. Capture the flag. It's kind of like a competition when you can invite a lot of teams around the world and you can earn money. So this is how you make people attracted and interested more in cybersecurity, because it's a practical thing. It's not only a theoretical thing and you talk about concepts. No, you feel the hack and you experience how it happened.
Welcome back to Beyond the Keynote. Today we are very excited and very happy to speak to Mohamed Hamdi Ouardi. And he is a cybersecurity expert and content creator and TEDx speaker. Welcome to the podcast, Mohamed.
Welcome, Carmen. Thank you so much for the kind invitation. So happy to be with you today. And yeah, so excited to have a fun conversation.
Yes, we are going to have a fun conversation. Interesting week interesting that I have you on the podcast this week, because I know we tried to meet previously and then our schedules didn't work. And so the week that we're actually meeting is the week that I got hacked. I had someone take over my emails and send a document out to my whole database. I've never had so many. It's good to know, I guess, that people are aware, because I've never had so many people respond to me, either call me, text me, or email me saying, Carmen, is this actually you? Why are you sending me this? And this was the scariest part for me, one person that rang me said they got my email and they responded to my response saying, yes, you do have to open this document. And none of that was me. And I am not a cybersecurity expert. So I had to figure out, and I will admit I used a bit of ChatGPT, how to get into my account and block them out and reset all the passwords and everything, but then figure out what they'd done and how they were redirecting emails and fix all the redirects and obviously get communication out to everyone. So I think what you do is an extremely, extremely important job in the world right now. Maybe we can talk about my little incident a little bit later.
Sure.
Would love to know your thoughts on that. But tell me, how did you end up in cybersecurity?
Like nobody has like a clear idea, that I want to do cybersecurity, from my childhood. Sometimes you hear people, they're gonna be like, okay, I went thinking about going into cybersecurity from my childhood. I was hacking things. But no, it's not the case for me. Basically, one information that people that doesn't know about me, that I started, studying about in high school about mechanical things, electricity, this kind of things, I wasn't really really a big fan of IT things. But when things had changed, when I went into university, and then I met one professor there, he was like an idol for me. And yeah, things started from that point when he was teaching me about IT, the way of teaching. It just made me attracted, I was looking to that guy like, whoa, this is Superman or something. So, and step by step, I just decided to go into the field, and the passion, from that point started into me.
Amazing. And tell me about you growing up. I'm always interested to know. You're doing some incredible speaking around the world now as well. And at Illuminated Story, we're all about storytelling and lighting up someone's story. I call it illuminating someone from the inside out to audiences. So when you were a little boy growing up, tell us a bit about your environment and whether you have ever imagined you'd be speaking on the world stage.
Yeah, so basically, I'm from a small country called Tunisia. It's a northern African country, and it's kind of like close to Europe. It's extremely in the north, and I'm living in the north of Tunisia.
Okay.
I think like people they are not really know more about it, but it's a touristic country. It's a fabulous one. So and I'm living in a touristic place, a coastal city. So I can say that my childhood was like I remember like in the summer it was like I spent all the summer on the beach, and coastal
Amazing.
life. So and yeah, and I think like my childhood was amazing, through my family. They were so supportive. They helped me a lot, in my childhood just to be the man who is right now. And I can say like my family played really, really a big role, in supporting me, in even like taking some decisions. So I remember like even when I went to university and even like in high school when I choose or I made like that choice that changed my life. My family was like, yeah, just go ahead. You can take that step. You have to experience a lot of things in your life to learn, right? So yeah, I can say like I grew up in that coastal city, a small country, and a supportive family. Yeah, I can just describe the environment like that.
I grew up in a coastal town in Australia as well. I absolutely love the beach. Couldn't imagine not living somewhere near a beach.
Great.
Um,
Cool.
Sounds absolutely beautiful, and so great that you had a supportive family and supportive parents. Because I think when you can follow your passions and explore different avenues, then you can end up on the right track, which obviously you have with the impact that you have today. Would you say that you were a shy child or a bit of an extrovert? Did you feel confident straight away speaking in front of groups of people from a young age, or is that something that you had to develop over time?
I'm gonna say like I was extremely shy. I was that guy who is
Okay.
sitting, like in that seat, and I wasn't really that guy who make a lot of noise or something. I was that guy who is so polite and saying a lot of yes, because I grew up like that.
Yes.
I grew up on respect a lot, people, and but like with time, you feel like the skills on talking, on your behavior, the language that you speak, the communication skills. This is something later you can develop absolutely. So it comes from a skill.
Mm,
I'm gonna say like from that
yeah.
guy who was really so shy to extremely someone who is extrovert and networking with the people and communicate. I think I think like it's a skill. It's not something like start from my childhood, and you have to work on. You have to work on to improve it day by day. Even the communication skills itself, it improved day by day. So, and even right now,
Mm,
when it comes to public speaking and all that kind of stuff, it exists even like new techniques like that appear. So you have to keep updated about that because
mm,
the audience, the topic that you're gonna talk about, and in the cybersecurity, for example, that you talk, with the people about complicated stuff, right? So sometimes it's so
yes.
easy to get
Mm.
boring or something. So you have just to add your fun way. You have to make them attracted to the topic, and you have to read even their faces. So again, it's a skill.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting that you were very, very shy as a child. Believe it or not, I was too. But I happened to fall in love with theatre. So it was quite ironic that I loved being on stage in theatre and I was the
Great.
shy child up the back of the classroom during
It
the
helped a lot.
day. But I think for me, yeah, the difference was I was playing a character on stage. And I love what you just said because you're absolutely right. It is a skill set to be able to, especially deliver public speaking. And it's one that you can build on and one that you can become really great at. It doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert. It really doesn't matter. And what an amazing skill to have when you are a leader in business or a leader in a certain niche that you are an expert in and you want to share your expertise and cause that impact throughout the world, which you've done in many ways that I'd love to dive into. So you had, I think you said you had someone at high school, university that was a inspirational mentor to you. So that was one of your high school teachers, was that right?
It was in university stage. When I was in university, I was studying
University.
IT.
Okay.
Yeah, he was really a cool guy. And later he became the Minister of Technology in Tunisia. So, yeah, I mean, from Proctor,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Okay.
so it was a big new for me. So yeah. And even like he was guiding me through my final project. Here we have what we call a final project that we make to graduate. So he was my first mentor, who guided me through that.
Yeah. And do you still speak to him today? Have you
For
stayed in
sure.
touch?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm still
Yeah.
like following his updates. And again, we still communicate about, basic things, but it's still like one of, the greatest guy I ever met. And I think it's kind of like, even for me, I think like it's a message that we have to pass to the other people, to the other students. I still have that fire.
Mm.
Because when you found someone who inspired you, you have to pass that inspiration to the next students. So maybe like this is one of
Yeah.
the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So, what does inspire you about technology and cybersecurity? What does get you fired up in that space?
All right. When basically like selected to continue my path, my academic path in IT, I had that a little bit passion about computers, how it works, like basic stuffs, how to install that system, whatever. And then when I made what we call my first final project on cybersecurity specifically, the first thing attracted me to continue that is the first hack. I'm not gonna say like I hacked emails, but yeah, but like through internship, it was like my first cyber attack. I had an opportunity to pass an internship in one of the companies that later I became information security administrator in that company. So from intern to information security responsible. So I made my first hack. Absolutely, it wasn't ethical. I had all the permissions. So because in cybersecurity we have what we call the white box pen testing. It means that you make a hack, okay, but it's a legal thing, okay, with a legal way. You take the permission and all of that. So when I launched that attack, I was like, wow. I mean, I like the way I access to computer, I changed things. Absolutely, I made a report to that company, okay? But I felt like it's an amazing experience. I felt like, well, I want to just discover more about that. And believe it or not, when you made your first hack, you feel
Yeah.
like, okay, how we can correct that? Or how I can maybe make another sophisticated attack. And you think about the next, you think about the next, another one. So it's like, an addiction. So yeah, maybe like this is the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. Wow. Okay. So, because I do not have a good understanding of this space, I worked in corporate for many years, and the cybersecurity team were always sending out information saying, "Do this, don't do that, beware of that."
awareness. Yeah.
And so that's my dealings with what cybersecurity is. So basically, you were hired to try and hack the system so that you could figure out all the different ways that people that weren't doing the right thing could get in,
Yeah.
so that you can then build blockers or prevent that somehow. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a cool
So
job, isn't it? It's kind of like you get to play games at work,
exactly,
and
exactly.
and
Yeah.
you get to legally do the wrong thing.
Absolutely,
I love
and
that.
yeah, I'm gonna give you like another information. In cybersecurity, we have that game, and we calling it Capture the Flag. It's a CTF. You can play that game, and even you can earn the money. You
Okay.
know, so yeah,
Yeah. Capture the flag. Is that what you said?
yeah. It's called Capture the Flag. It's kind of like a competition
Capture the flag.
when you can invite a lot of teams around the world, And by the way, the competition can be online or even like on site, and you can
Okay.
compete with your other teams and you can earn money. So yeah, and basically in each cybersecurity conference you can find that. So yeah, this is, and by the way, this is how you make people attracted and interested more in cybersecurity because it's a practical thing. It's not only theoretical thing and you talk about, concepts. No, you feel the hack and you
Mm.
experience how it happened.
Wow. I feel like I'm in a movie right now where you see people, trying to hack into systems and
Yeah.
normally they're doing the wrong thing though. So love it that you're doing the right thing. Okay. So now you've obviously done a TEDx talk and I know that you've been invited to some incredible conferences and speaking engagements around the world. How did that start for you?
About talking in some conferences, I think like the first talk it was with a cybersecurity organization in university. So they invited me to make an awareness session, for the professional, for the students, and it was kind of like perfect. And to be honest, my first public speaking, it wasn't like really a hard experience for me, to be honest, because I think I felt like okay, I could do, because the number it was really kind of a lot of people there. So the first thing came to your mind: what about I make mistake? What about I say like a technical word with incorrect way? But later I discovered that with interaction, when you feel that you can explain the thing that you're really passionate about, it just felt okay. And I liked a lot how the people interacted with the thoughts. And it was a fabulous experience that, to be honest, it's opened a lot of doors for me later.
Amazing. Okay, so that was your first one. You were a bit nervous, but it went really well, which is great. So off the back of that, it's opened up a lot of opportunities. Tell us about that because I think speaking can do that, and sometimes people can be really focused on I need to get paid for speaking and make it all about the speaker fee, but it's actually so much more than that, and sometimes getting in the right rooms with the right people, even if you're not getting a big speaker fee, can open so many doors and can result in huge amounts of income and huge amounts of impact. So tell us about where that one room has led for you.
I can say like I just joined those kind of conferences because I felt that again I want to pass that passion. I want to pass that message to the people. And in cybersecurity, for example, if you talk with the students or talk to professionals like juniors, you feel that cybersecurity is a really big field. It's so easy to get lost if you are a beginner or someone who wanna choose his path, or his career. So I felt like, okay, I'm doing that because I like to pass the message. I like to make them love cybersecurity, and I like to guide them. I like to make them take the right decision. And it just feels so great later when I end my talk, and many people give me that feedback. Like I don't know, like even I got some messages, from some people after those kind of talks. They'd be like, okay, thank you. We had a fabulous idea about cybersecurity. And let me just tell you something that even I got some messages from people, they'd be like, we made the right decision. We had our first role, and we are so thankful for your guidance and your mentorship. So I feel really, really so satisfied about that. I feel like, okay, this has changed someone's life, maybe, guiding or giving this kind of advices in conferences, make them understand the full pictures, and even like sharing, your experience and sharing with them the mistakes that you have to avoid is really means a lot to them. So I feel so happy just to
Yes.
help people, into it. And because another thing, because cybersecurity, for example, when some instructors teaching that, they are just teaching it with a classical way. They are not talking about careers. They are not talking about what you have to do if you have a cybersecurity degree. This is the problem. So, and even specifically with some professional and students, they be like, okay, we feel like it's a classical session. We're talking about malwares, we're talking about hacking, but what if one day I want to just take my decision and, like go into market right now? What is the field in cybersecurity itself that I have to follow? So I feel like a lot of people, they need to hear this kind of advices. And this has made a lot of difference to them, and it means a lot to them sometimes. So yeah, and even like as a volunteer work, I made some sessions with some people too, just to give them some advices where they have to go, the mistakes that they had to avoid.
Absolute gold and invaluable, I agree. You need to learn the technicalities of whatever field you're in, and the career advice or the real life scenarios that you can bring to those students and teach them and have them learn quicker or learn from your mistakes is absolutely invaluable. So love that you're doing that. Now I'm very interested to know, you've done a TEDx talk, Mohamed. How did that come about? There's many people out there that want to do TEDx talks but haven't had the
Oh yeah.
opportunity yet.
Yeah, it was like even a great opportunity just to meet another influencers and another content creators, another people that they made impact. It was even a good experience to network. So yeah, my TEDx talk was kind of like an amazing experience. And to be honest, it was one of the goals, believe it or not. I was dreaming about it going, in a TEDx talk, and that talk gonna be posted on the official TEDx YouTube channel. I was like, whoa, I'm never like gonna forget that experience. Even the title of the keynote, it was "Hack the Hackers," like, yeah, just so it was a catchy. So I can say like it was a fabulous one, especially like the people interacted with me. I got a great feedbacks again, and especially when you can read, the reactions on the face of the audience, right? So when you had your keynote, you have just to read, the minds. It's like, try to understand: are you enjoying that? Are you feeling boring or something? And basically, in my talks, I add that fun part of it. I'm trying to make it like a little bit, making some jokes sometimes to explain the idea, to make them understand the concept, because you are talking to people that they are not really sometimes so technical. Even like I had that experience, in mentoring some people that they are really experts, but it's not the case sometimes. So in my TEDx talk, I try to simplify the idea, like I try really, really to simplify that, even with some jokes. And this has created
Yeah.
some good environment to absorb the ideas, to make them feel okay. We have a fun, but we learn, and even like we interact. So yeah, I love a lot, that talk, and it's gonna be like one of the spotlights that I'm really proud of.
Amazing. And that is a superpower, to be able to take a very complicated subject and simplify it in a way that even someone like me, who's not a cybersecurity expert, can understand. And also, I mean, bringing humour in is always wonderful. It's great to, even if you're talking about a topic that's very uh, deep and maybe dark and challenging, it can be great to bring some humour in there just to lighten up a few moments for the audience along the way. I love that. Have you got any talks that you've done that, other than TEDx, which is obviously an amazing achievement, that stand out for you for one reason or another? Now, most of my guests share a couple of examples, and sometimes it's because something went really, really well, and other times it's because it didn't go so well, or something happened when they were out on that stage that they had to navigate, and maybe the audience knew, maybe the audience didn't know. Have you got any stories you can share with us?
Yeah, for sure. I remember like another spotlight, which is getting like a private message on my LinkedIn from a former cybersecurity engineer in the NASA, and he
Amazing.
just asked me to join InfraGuard conference. So InfraGuard is an American organization, which is a partnership between the FBI and between USA businesses. And he asked me if I could join them for a conference to explain for them the relationship between the artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. And it was great. I was reading the messages. I mean, like, I can't believe it, because maybe, like, I thought that day that maybe they're gonna reach me out, through email. And I was like thinking, maybe this is someone wanna hack me. Okay. Or maybe this is like someone wanna do something there. I was like verifying the link or something. I spent like approximately 1 hour verifying that person, the profile of that person, and yeah, it was a real thing. So, and it was a fabulous when you join a conference when you're gonna find really experts, from around the world, even from United States, from some great countries that were really really so good in IT. It was another spotlight that many people they don't know about it, but yeah, I talk it in InfraGard, and I'm proud of. And yeah, I got also like a lot of opportunities to talk in local conferences in Tunisia. Yeah, and I think like even I had the opportunity to talk in front of 4,000 person professional of cybersecurity. It was really really a great feeling when you just look to the stage. It's so wide, and look all the people staring on you. They are just waiting your insights. It just make you love more what you are doing. You're gonna be like, I want to just do more. I want to just make this stage maybe one day gonna be bigger. Gonna be maybe full of people. So yeah.
Incredible. And have you, along the way, you mentioned that speaking is a skill. Before you get out onto the stage, do you have anything that you do as a ritual? Do you warm up your voice or your body in any way? Do you think about the content that you've built? Or, yeah, tell us about what you do before you go out onto that stage.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, the keynote part. I think like all of us know about it, that you have to prepare like that kind of keynote. Basically, I'm not make it so full. It's just like the headlines, because sometimes I find another people sometimes when they talk, they get like reading from the slides, and I can't really feel that comfortable. So I put like the headlines, and guess what? Sometimes again, I'm trying to add some jokes there, like some memes even, to make it easy for people to understand. And yeah, about a physical thing now, I think like I want to just be who I am when I go like in stage. Just okay, about the voice and all of that kind of stuff. Absolutely, I know that. So I know that when sometimes some speakers before me, sometimes they got the classical path when they talk, with a low voice, the same rhythm, but I could manage that, So I make my voice like kind of sometimes loud, sometimes, balance it to make the people, follow what I'm doing. But I focus a lot on gesture too, and even like sometimes with some videos. I mean, like, okay, when you put some videos in your keynote, like how you hack or how you do your thing, people they're gonna be like, whoa, we see that action, and they're gonna be interested more, and they start to ask you questions. So I focus a lot on make it interactive keynote, and make the people see the practical thing of cybersecurity. So yeah, I think the voice tone is really so important. The keynote quality, not make it so long, and please, don't make it so complicated for beginners. Don't use that kind of complicated words or complicated technical terms. Just make it simple. And absolutely, what I'm trying to sometimes get as an information is the audience, which gonna be like in which level. Are there beginners? Are they students? Are they professionals? So like that, I can absolutely manage the way that I'm gonna be talking and manage the technical words that I'm gonna presenting.
I think that it's interesting because sometimes, and I've seen this in corporate as well, people think that if they use big language and complicated terms, technical language, that they sound smarter. Uh,
Hmm.
and what I have discovered and experienced is that the smartest people can make something really complicated as very simple, or as simple as possible,
100%.
especially in the way that they communicate it. Yes.
Exactly.
And that is absolutely very, very important when you're on a keynote stage, obviously. And I know that he's been well documented and maybe overused as an example, but Steve Jobs did that for technology products 100%. He made them cool, he made them simple. He didn't talk about all the complicated things behind the scene. He just spoke about the things that the audience, or the public, the consumer that would be buying them, would be interested in. So I love that you're doing that for cybersecurity, and it sounds like you've got, I call them gear changes in your keynote, where you're mixing things up. You're obviously doing it with your voice, where it's not just the same level the whole time. You're also doing it with the videos that you spoke about and the humour that you're injecting into the keynote as well, which results in an audience that's really engaged and interested, and then obviously taking on the great advice that you're sharing with them. So
Sorry,
tell me
sorry for
about,
interrupting.
well, let's start
Sorry
with,
for interrupting. Just I want to add another thing here, that sometimes,
no,
you
that's
have to
okay.
care.
Interrupt me.
You,
What did you want to,
I wanted just to say that, you have to care about even the smallest details, like even about the jokes that you're gonna make. Because if you gonna make a complicated jokes, nobody gonna laugh about that. So, so you have to care really, really about the details, even the kind of humor that you're gonna bring.
yes, yes, all the details matter. I 100% agree. And yes, if you're going to make a complicated joke that most people in the room aren't going to understand, you're not going to get a laugh. So
Exactly.
yeah, definitely good advice. I love that. So I mean, cybersecurity feels like it's something that's just not going away. It can't go away. It feels like it's getting more complicated, and that um, people in the world, maybe the hackers, are getting more sophisticated, and because I guess we just rely on technology so much today as well. It's just integrated into our lives in so many ways, and even more so with AI. I mean, AI is not new now. It's just something that everyone uses, and if you're not using it, you're probably behind at this point in time. So, what do you see? Where is cybersecurity going, and what does the future look like for us in that space?
I mean, it's really, really tough right now when you see that artificial intelligence really play a big role in cybersecurity. Whatever, when we talk about the offensive sides, how the hackers think, or the defensive side. And as you said, that if you are not learning artificial intelligence and how you can deploy that in your field, or deploy that on the tasks that you're doing, you're absolutely behind. So maybe like some couple weeks ago, Cloud, if you know Cloud as a model, it's like a Gemini or ChatGPT. They
I
announced
love
it.
God. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Claude is really, really crazy. They announced that they launched it in extension. I'm not gonna say like it's a cybersecurity professional extension, but it's doing specifically one of the security tasks. Okay, after 1 hour of that
Okay.
announcement, we see like a huge dropout, on the stocks in a lot of I can say security providers. So artificial intelligence right now is really, really so crazy, but it makes us right now ask the question: is it really gonna take the cybersecurity job or the cybersecurity market? So right now it's still a little bit blurry, but it's so efficient. When we tried that, when we tested that, it showed fabulous results. But we are really so far to say that it's gonna, take our jobs. Maybe okay, it make it really faster it make it less complicated. Maybe the task that you're doing and takes 8 hours, right now with artificial intelligence you can just make it in 4 hours. But again, cybersecurity is a huge field. Maybe it's gonna take out one of the tasks, one of the specialties specifically, but taking all the market, I think it's like exaggeration. This is like an over fear, from the market. Right now, the future is integrating artificial intelligence inside cybersecurity. Many companies they started already doing that, but absolutely we don't know about the consequences. So, as you know, cloud is working right now with the United States government, right? So many people they just believe this is kind of like gonna break the confidential things, and it's gonna make it so complicated to trust. And even ChatGPT, the same thing. And I think like 2 days ago, I read an article that talked that people they started already deleting ChatGPT from their phones because they make an agreement with United States government. All right, so privacy
Yeah.
plays a big role in that. Now the future is artificial intelligence. Absolutely, the tasks right now really are gonna be simple, gonna be kind of faster, but it's gonna take the market. It's still a blurry, it's very still blurry. But as a cybersecurity expert, you have to learn that. You have absolutely to understand how AI tools works and how you can benefit from that evolution.
Yes, absolutely. I was just going to give a quick synopsis for those that are listening that haven't seen the movie. So basically, Sandra Bullock's the lead character. She does everything, she uses technology for everything.
Yeah.
And then someone steals her identity basically by hacking into everything that she does. And this was way before AI became normal in our society. And I mean, it would have been before a lot of the tech giants, before our social media platforms even were a big deal when this was made. So it was really looking into the future. Now, deep fakes and identities being stolen and videos being created that aren't actually the person, and all of that is really prevalent now. I'm just wondering, as a cybersecurity expert, how is that something that a lot of experts are looking into, and how do we know what's real and what's not real moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, again, artificial intelligence, as much it helps in the fields, as much it's created huge problems too. So right now you have a hacker who is empowered with that tools, and we were talking about something it called vibe coding, which is creating code from scratch. What means vibe is just to do something, even it's a malicious, you don't know how to do it, how to make it, but with that tool right now you can do it easily, right? So hackers right now, even they are beginners, even they don't have really that kind of skills, with AI tools right now they can absolutely create a fake videos. They can even in a simple one click, I can gather a lot of information about Carmen, and I can know like which topic that I'm gonna send an email to target Carmen and make her click on that link, right? So, and this is basically what we call in cybersecurity social engineering. Social engineering, for example, right now, this task it was manually, but with artificial intelligence, I can use a model. I can just demand from that model to gather all the information about that person specifically, and write him an email, for example, based on a lot of data that make him click the link and got targeted. Now about deepfake, absolutely it improved a lot. You see like what happened with Nano Banana, those kind of models. You can create even movies right now with artificial intelligence. So, and even why we advise a lot, from the people they are not. I mean like they're using a lot Nano Banana or something, or even like specific models, to not putting a lot of personal pictures, because from one picture sometimes gonna be kind of maybe public and someone gonna use it, or you don't know. I mean, if you upload your picture inside a model, right now that picture is not yours. Okay, maybe the privacy right now issue here gonna be a huge problem, and maybe someone, or maybe you agree, through using that model, that someone gonna use your picture for another thing. So yeah, I mean, like from one picture or even like some videos, we can create deepfake videos, and we can make like a lot of troubles for the victims. This is really really serious topic, to be honest. Right now we have some tools, they can analyze those kind of videos and tell us, but not like tell us strictly is that fake or not. It's just telling us maybe like this is 60% fake and 40% real. So it's just gonna give you approximately, is that fake or not. And even like the scary thing that we reach some videos that really pass it by those tools as a real, you know. So deepfake is really really so scary sometimes with the evolution, and I can say the efficiency of the models days by days. So yeah, and what we have to do right now is to make more awareness for the people. So because people manage technology, and if the people they can't understand the tools that they are dealing with, they're gonna still make mistakes, and they're gonna still have a lot of victims there. So awareness is so important. Really, it plays a huge role in that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, I mean, that's where speaking can come into it, isn't it? Where you can
Yeah.
use speaking to help create awareness. So I'd love to know, you've done some pretty amazing speaking gigs so far, but where would you like to take this in the future? How do you want to use speaking moving forward with your expertise?
Basically, what I'm doing too is content creation, and if you know or not, I have a small podcast too. It's called the Cyber Corner, where I bring some cybersecurity experts, from around the world. Another idol, actually, like he was my guest in the last episode. He was Jeff Groom. He's the CTO of IBM, and he's a professor in North Carolina University. I like that guy. Why? Because when I was a student, I was watching his work, reading his articles. I was really kind of interested in that guy. But with kind of like making that content, I can say also my LinkedIn profile played a role in that. Since I have a good community there, I sent him an invite to join me in one of the
You have
episodes,
a great
and I
community.
couldn't believe it. Like 1 hour or 2 hours, he just replied and he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a pleasure. Let's do it." I felt amazing at that. So I was like, "Okay, let's go for some content creation. Let's make more episodes, and let's also create a technical content too." So what I'm doing basically right now is daily I post on my LinkedIn profile talking about the updates in cybersecurity, free resources for the beginners, some tips, making some episodes with international experts, and also I'm creating some technical videos on my YouTube channel. So my focus more on YouTube, and for the LinkedIn, I have a fabulous community. So approximately we're gonna be 150,000 follower, which is a great number in 2 years, I think, since I started this kind of things.
That's
So yeah,
incredible. It's an
yeah,
incredible number. Well done. Congratulations.
thank
And
you.
I love, what I love the most about that is it's the impact for you that you're after. It's not really chasing a number for any other reason other than to be able to spread the really important messages that you share. So I'm sure your community will just keep growing, which is amazing. And no doubt it will continue to grow on YouTube as well. So if you were able to be invited to speak on a stage, a world stage, are there any stages that you would like to be invited to speak to that you haven't already been on?
Um, well, basically, maybe another TEDx talk, but this time gonna be like an
Yeah,
international,
okay.
in other country maybe. Oh my god, it's gonna be fabulous.
I was going to say you need the actual TED stage, not a TEDx, just the real
Yeah,
TED
yeah, exactly.
stage.
Maybe a bigger one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe a bigger one.
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, but as long as I'm speaking and as long as I talk with people, I share my knowledge, I feel okay about it. It doesn't matter. The most important that we make that impact. So this is the most important for me.
Amazing. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up our conversation?
Yeah, I mean, because absolutely, I admire a lot your work, and I'm gonna share absolutely the episode link, to my cybersecurity community. Um, I got a lot of questions daily, like maybe I don't know, thousands of messages daily, how to get into cybersecurity and kind of stuffs. I want to just give a simple tips. Don't rush things, okay? Just build a good knowledge and be passionate about it, okay? And everything gonna be perfect, okay? Just step by step, right? So don't rush things, and that's it, okay? And absolutely, for the community, I'm gonna try to help as much as possible. And thank you so much for the support. That's it.
Absolute pleasure. Well, as you've probably heard, you can connect with Mohamed on LinkedIn. I don't know if you can connect, but you can follow him definitely because he's got nearly 150,000 followers. So an enormous, amazing community. And you can also find him on YouTube. Mohamed, it's been so lovely to have you on the show. I've learned a lot about cybersecurity. I think that hacking the hackers sounds like so much fun. And maybe I'll have a chat to you offline about my hackers.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on today. All right, here's where you're standing. You can close this episode, think that was fun, and go back to doing things the way you've always done them. Or you can decide you're done being the speaker, the leader that people politely applaud and immediately forget. If you want to create the kind of moments we talked about today, the theatrical, the unforgettable, the profitable, I've put together something that'll change how you think about the stage forever. It's called Beyond the Keynote, Creating Your Illuminated Story. No fluff, no theory, just methodology I use with elite speakers and leaders who are done playing small. Go to illuminatedstory.com/masterclass. And hey, if this episode hit you somewhere, share it, leave a review. It takes 30 seconds and helps more people discover that great speaking isn't magic. It's a game and you can learn to win it. I'm Carmen Cedorino. Don't just speak, illuminate. See you next week.